Welcome to the Montreal Forum with your host, Liam Maguire. This broadcast will be coming to you from left to right on your listening device.
Oh, thank you very much, Dick Irvin. It's been a while, been a minute, as the kids say today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Montreal Forum. I'm your host, Liam Maguire, part of Habs Cast Nation. And man, oh man, looking forward to chatting with you for the next little bit here this afternoon. Of course, my show is brought to you each and every week by Hosey and Brown Automotive. I was at their east location today here in Ottawa and on Old Innis there. There it is. Thank you, Grant. And as they prepare for their 50th anniversary celebration later this June, I will be emceeing it on Friday, June the 6th. Can't wait. And saw Rod today. He's taking a well-deserved vacation with his wife, Tracy, tomorrow, heading to Costa Rica. And wish them safe travel and a good week off. And then he'll be right back at it. So thanks to Hosey and Brown for helping produce me. And I should say produce me on the air here with the Montreal Forum. Thank you, Grant. And, of course, thanks to Dick Irvin for our fantastic intro for Grant and I as we pump them out on the show. Can't get enough of it. Great to have you with me. Lots to chat about. I'll get into the Habs in just a second, just clearing up a couple things here. Topical, at least for now. Love the fact the felony charge was dropped for Gavin McKenna. That's just beautiful. More details will probably be forthcoming as we hear more about exactly how things proceeded. But the fact that the powers that be have viewed and reviewed and made decisions, whatever the case may be, on this and have dropped the most serious charge is great news. I think the rest will shortly follow. And at some point between now and then, probably the exact word for word story and possibly even video, the way the world works today, will eventually make its way to the public consumption. But in the meantime, that's just great, and very happy for him and all involved on that side. It sounded messy, but we'll hear more later. I'll just talk about the Habs right now, and because we all know the league is shutting down for the Olympic break. I had told Grant I had basically was going to do a report card. Well, it's kind of hard to do a real in-depth report card on a team that is about to improve their point total for the 5th straight season, barring falling right off a cliff here. They are on pace for 104 points. They haven't had that many since 2015. They had 103 in 2017. Neither one of those years produced much come playoff time with second round exits, but at the same time, they were good regular seasons. It was the Marc Bergevin era, and he was right there in those first 3 or 4 years of building something pretty special. We just either couldn't keep Carey healthy, or a combination of not having the scoring that we have now. Oh my God, this team, I'll tell you, they can outscore their trouble when they get into it. And that's certainly been the case this year many, many times. So not the least of which was just overcoming another deficit, albeit only by 1 goal to Winnipeg in the last game. I think 4-0-1 points their last 5. In their last 2 weeks, they've played some of the top teams in the league and continued to either garner points or get victories. Currently sits second in the Atlantic. Of course, it's a train wreck there. They're ahead because they played 1 less game, and everyone knows what's there. It is. Grant's got the stats up. Everybody's very familiar with it there. But you can see Tampa with the games in hand, really no threat at all. They could back their way into first, and a real definitive victory last night over a floundering Florida team who will miss the playoffs. And no one's going to shed a tear based on how they've performed the last 3 years. Canadiens and Red Wings right there. If that was a first-round matchup, it would be an absolute doozy. Sabres, of course, are right there as well. Just 2 points back after losing last night. Bruins 3 points back. The Peloton has fallen off a tad, but clearly still within striking distance. There's no question about it. Ottawa right now 6-3-1 last 10, as you see. But my goodness, their structure of the game they're playing, and goaltending starting to shore up a little bit with Linus coming back. They're getting some. They got not like they had no threat last night against the Flyers. It was amazing that the Flyers even were able to get that game tied up. It was almost like, oh my God, Ottawa fans must have been just going, are you absolutely kidding me right now? But at the end of the day, they got the big 2 points and they stay within shouting distance, really, of everything. I mean, for all intent and purpose, certainly 9 behind Montreal is a whole lot more of a hurdle to try and think about Montreal and Detroit than it is Buffalo at 70 or 8, let alone the Bruins or 7, let alone the Bruins who are within their shouting distance of 6. So we're going to come back after the Olympic break here, and it is going to be that 100-meter sprint, just like we've been playing right now. So all of the 3 and 4s and back-to-backs will pick up again. And the only difference being you're going to have a lot of fresh guys. It really is 2 seasons. The league has never had this long a break. And I believe this is even longer than we had in 98 and the other years we played in the Olympics. So maybe only by a few days, but still. And it really is 2 seasons. It really, so we'll see how everybody comes back. You want to hope nobody gets any type of freak injury or anything. And then, who's going to be skating and who's going to be ready to absolutely hit the ground running here in the 3rd week of February once that gold medal is won by Canada. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I did kind of bury the lead there because I actually will wait another second. I did tell Grant I was going to do a report card on the Habs here because of the break, but they're on pace for 104 points, like I said. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 A pluses. Really, there's not a lot really to hammer on. I'd say Jake Evans has regressed a little bit. He was hurt. He come back. He's trying to find his role. He hasn't played really as well since he signed that contract, unfortunately, but he's still a very effective hockey player. Galley. I mean, the Galley Anderson Deneau line is going to get some traction here coming back after these last couple of games. What's gotten into Brendan? This looks like the guy who kind of started last season and had this year that nobody expected, and then went right back to the regression that we kind of did expect in this season as he ages and the body dies down a little bit more. I was discussing on the infamous Twitter feed, I know it's X, whatever, I still call it Twitter, the other night, talking about Galley, because the comment came from somebody that he's lost his speed. He hasn't lost any speed. He hits the holes as quick as he ever did. He just can't. He handles a puck like it's a grenade, except the last 2 games. My God, the move he made in Minnesota. Are you kidding me? Like, when has he ever scored a goal like that? That was unfreaking believable. First Quinn Hughes and whoever was in net, Wallstad or whatever his name is. I mean, went around him like a hoop around a barrel. I mean, unfreaking believable. Now, the last 2 games. So that line's gonna get a long look here. And not very many games before the trade deadline. So it's going to be really interesting to see how, we had a smattering of deals here, the Panarin one being the big one and nothing else really. So whatever's going to happen, it's just so many teams are in. So it's got to be difficult to know exactly what to do. But those 5 games, whatever everyone's going to play, I think it's 5, 6, maybe 7 games at the most between coming back. Yeah, it wouldn't be 7. It'd be probably in the 5 area approximately. I think it's March 6th, is it not? Grant, maybe you could comment online there. But regardless, you'll see some activity then. But with so many teams in parity at an all-time high, especially in that crazy Atlantic, it may curtail some of the bigger deals that you would typically see. Having said that, these GMs like to rock and roll. So there you go. Yeah, like I said, I got great marks for everybody. Doing a report card normally is when you're going to offer an opinion on somebody. Like Bolduc, I got it a B-. He's probably my lowest. I think, he's come over and the early flurry followed kind of planed out and then kind of really dropped and then kind of came back a little bit. And then he just seems to be, when the games when he's gone out and hits everything that moves, he seems to at least be effective and can be trustworthy for his minutes. And, if we get some offense out of the guy, I'm more willing to wait and see, and God willing, we make the postseason to see what he does then. It's kind of where he got on a lot of our radar with what he did in the postseason for St. Louis, right? So I think that's what I'm kind of waiting to see for him right now. So I mean, just to establish a mark, I had Galley at a B minus. Definitely could be reversed instantly here really, really quickly if they're able to continue in the vein that they have these last couple games and those three vets. It's Josh Anderson. I mean, the guy's playing in terms of points kind of where we sort of all expected. The time where we all were hoping, waiting, wanting, wishing that he would turn into this next edition of a power forward that could really do it all. He can skate. His shot's decent. He's got somewhat creativity, ability when he's handling the puck. He can hit. He can fight. Like, all the ingredients are there. It's just you put him in that mixer and stir it, and we just don't always get the best cocktail. And I think the day of hoping for that are long gone. So whatever he can, whenever he does chime in, like was it back pass to Hudson? I mean, Hudson was skating backwards when he picked it up. So Josh himself said, hey, listen, he was wide open and I just threw it somewhere around him. He got it and did the rest. But by the way, the look on Hellebuck, I didn't see it till the next day on the highlights that were online where somebody said, hey, watch Hellebuck when he realizes that Hudson scored on him. He had no idea probably there was even any room there. So, my God, Lane is something else. But it's just like Noah Dobson has really settled in. I got Volano at a B minus, Bolduc and Galley at a B minus. I got Arbor and Stroobs at B's. I don't think they deserve anything lower than that. And the funny thing about Struble is he plays like every third game or whatever it is now. I mean, he got his games in. He's got 39 in. Arbor's got 50. But Stroobs keeps chipping in with a helper here and there. I don't know. He gets a puck down deep, picks up a second assist. Who cares? It's great. He's got 8 assists. It's fantastic. But I'm happy for him. I just hope that they'll platoon them, obviously, providing everybody's healthy going forward. Knock on whatever wood we can, and hope that who's ever in gives a good account of himself. If you need maybe a bit of a rougher, tougher D-man back there, Arbor will probably get the nod. I mean, the way Marty seems to be doing it is a little bit sort of, this guy hasn't played in 2 or 3 games. I better get this guy in, sort of thing. And that's kind of the way it's been since Gooley got back healthy. But our top 4 there, I love the way they're playing right now. I think it's great. It's great things. It's funny. I'm here in the Ottawa area, and they have absolutely, and rightfully so. I mean, the goaltending's been atrocious this year. There's no doubt about it. It has. It's cost them multiple points. Thing is, ours at different times has not been good either. We all know the struggles that Monty's had, and I think if you went down the list of Montreal Canadiens losses and checked the save percentages on the goaltenders on that particular night, it'd be well under the league average of whatever it is, 8-9 or something, the lowest it's been in or highest, however you want to view it, in quite some time. So I just find it a little bit interesting that it seems to be singularly the goaltending in Ottawa that's been the problem. I think they've had a few other issues, but my God, they look really good right now. Like, it is tough getting shots on them right now, let alone goals. And they did blow it late against Carolina, but they first of all, they lost to a hell of a team. But at the end of the day, probably deserved a better fate. However, we all could say that. And they are 6 points out. They will make a hell of a push here, believe me. But they'll need Boston or Buffalo or ourselves or Detroit or somebody to really come back quite a bit. 6 points is a lot. 25 games is not a lot of time to make it up, but it can be done. And if you got to take care of your own business, get your W's, and then you're going to need a little help. But at the end of the day, we'll see how it plays out. So the report card stuff, I didn't give anything to Blay or Line A. New Hook, I mean, we just Doc. I gave them B's. I mean, Doc's actually on pace for a career, in terms of points percentage. he could eclipse what he's done so far in his brief career. He's only had one season of health, so we all know this. These are all the things that we know. But I love the decor. You have to love Monty's bounce back, right? The other night, Winnipeg is a shadow of what they were. They have fallen off a cliff. They're still dangerous. They still had chances. Monty made a couple of 10-bell saves. We took over and ran away with the game, which is the way it used to be, the way it is for all good teams over history. You need a couple saves, and especially if you have the ability to score, and Montreal does right now. So much encouragement, and now we just got to wait and see how everybody traverses over here these next 3 weeks, including the guys who are going overseas. They're about to descend and be put into some of the most stressful situations they've ever experienced in their lives. So for their countries, maybe not so much the teams, like Slav or some of these others. We'll see. I mean, no one's going to be there probably won't be any real major blowouts. I don't think there will anyway. There may be a victory or two, like 6-1, 7-1 type thing. I don't expect anybody to hit double digits, even against your France's or whomever. I don't expect it. I may be wrong, but and even though it's a smaller ice surface, 196 by 85 instead of 200 is certainly not even close to Olympic size. Plus, we're getting NHL refs, although under double IHF rules. So, number of different scenarios there, but I just don't expect any real blowouts. So, in terms of the Habs, when the last time I checked in with you guys, it's been a little while. It was before my road trip out east, which went spectacularly well. Yeah, we had a few little hiccups there in Tignish, PEI. It's a very rural town. Of course, the whole province is, right? You got Charlottetown, Summerside, and pretty much the rest is rural. And even Summerside, you can make a case, is kind of just a rural town. It's a great province, fantastic people. Tignish kind of has a rep, They work hard and they socialize hard, and they're good to go, to let you know that. And we were at the Legion in the post-game celebration, had a fantastic time. I did the auction that night, and Chris Nyland came up on stage with me, and we auctioned off a couple of his jerseys. We made real good money, and among the other things that I auctioned off, I think I did a 8 or 9 piece auction, and it went very, very well. And we had a lot of adult beverages, as did the locals, and so it was mostly I don't think anything really significantly was going to happen. But Aaron Asham was there, former Montreal Canadian draft pick, and he's the youngest guy on our roster, and our alumni roster, and he was hovering around, making sure everything stayed cool. So, but it was a great time had by all. We stayed in a fantastic location. We were in Halifax, Windsor, Nova Scotia, at Long Pond, which is the birthplace of hockey. They've got the oldest documented proof of hockey is in Long Pond, which is Windsor, Nova Scotia. And some of the guys skated on there with the contingent that were playing in the tournament. It's an outdoor tournament held annually. Very, very cold. From the Habs, we had Aaron Asham, Brian Scrugland, Sergio Momesso, any others? Chris Nyland, of course, coaching. He coaches the guys. He did say he's probably going to get back playing. So his knees surgeries that he's had, he says he's feeling very good, and he's anticipating going to skate again, and he's anticipating maybe playing with the alumni again next year, which he did for years. He just stepped out a couple of years ago when the knee just couldn't take it anymore. So we'll see for sure. James says, what's that about the Sens? I want to get that major damage in the playoffs. They get in, fix their goaltending. Yeah, well, they're not going to fire Travis. That's for sure. Not before the end of this season. And fixing their goaltending, yeah, they may or may not have that done at this point and create major damage. Well, they could run smack dab into the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I think their major damage would be over in that first round. But I think they're a hell of a team, and they deserve to be higher than where they are in the standings. There's no doubt. Do they necessarily deserve to be 6 points better or 8 points better? I mean, the teams that have their losses in most cases had shoddy goaltending in that particular time. Ottawa maybe at this point has had a little bit more of it, but they had a lot of other games that they looked terrible in as well. So I don't think we're talking about the 2007 Ottawa Senators here. We're talking about a very good club that should be higher in the standings, but I don't know about major damage, but they certainly would be a tough out, as they were last year. Despite losing the first three, they still made Toronto work to close out that series. And unfortunately, it's just at the end of the day, it's just another loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So they're picking up right where they left off at the start of the 2000s. And they've got some hurdles to overcome here to get back in the race, but I would not count them out. That is for sure. They definitely could be a tough team. And small town legions, that is Canada. Our legions are the lifeblood of many, many towns. I will say this, Tignish is different. I have been to approximately 60, 70 legions. It's different. So I'll just leave it at that. It's a very vibrant part of the island, and they like to have a good time, as does everybody. And as you could probably tell, I'm leaving a few paragraphs out, and it's probably best not be for public consumption. But it was a great time had by all, and the entire trip was fantastic. We left from Tignish and went to Grand Manan, which is an island that's part of New Brunswick. So we had to take a ferry across, 90-minute ferry across to Grand Manan. And that game, every game we play, we pick up 3 or 4 locals. So we picked up 3 guys to round out our roster. We only have 9 alumni playing, so we need to round out our roster. And we picked up these guys, and they're local. This was from the team we played. And we picked up this guy, and he ended up dropping the gloves with a guy from his own team that he plays with. So we had to call the game with 17 seconds to go. It was a 7-all tie. So that was interesting. And so those were our 3 games. We played in Cape Breton and Eskasoni. That's a reserve, First Nation reserve, probably about 35, 40 minutes outside of Sydney. And in Cape Breton. And then we played in Tignish, and we played in Grand Manan. And we also had events in Windsor, Nova Scotia, and Fredericton. We also spent a night in St. John, New Brunswick. So it was a 9-10-day tour, lots of stops, a lot of microphones, a lot of hot stoves, a lot of trivia, and a lot of broadcasting, and with just a fantastic group of guys. Bernie Nichols was there, Darren Hatcher. It's just a Ron Duguay. It's really Aaron Ward, who, if you're from the Montreal area, he's on TSN 690 every day, Monday to Friday, does a great job. So good stuff there. Jay, Suzuki looks like now with the changes, so I may as well jump into some Olympic talk here. Look, the Habs. Oh yeah. Just want to say, as I always do, when I do come on the show, I like to give the update of where Nick and Cole are heading. So Nick right now on pace for 93, of course, would be a career high. If you recall, the last show I did, which was a couple of weeks ago, I guess at this point, Nick was down at 89, so he's picked up his pace. Probably coincided with the heater that Cole's been on. Let's be honest. He's on pace for 46 right now, which would destroy his previous career best. So let's hope he can keep that going. Can you imagine? If it was even to find maybe another gear and touch 50, it would be just amazing. Stéphane Richer has accompanied us on the alumni tours many, many times, and we've had this discussion many times. He would love to see another Hab get 50. He's, of course, our last guy to do it, and did it twice, as everybody on here knows. And tell you what, that guy can still fire puck, holy lifting. I don't think he's 5 pounds over playing weight. He just doesn't skate the same. He hardly skates. He plays in these things a half dozen times a year, and he goes out there. But if he wants to hit the top of the circle and snap one, you don't even see the puck. It's ridiculous. Anyway, he's such a good guy too. It's always great when he can. He wasn't on this particular trip, but he has made many in the past, and hopefully see him again. Francois McKenna's accusations means anything else happens, he's in the clear. I think it's just a matter of time here. More of this will come out, and whatever the minimal is he's going to get, that's what I suspect. Of course, we're only going by what was came out on social media. There's nothing being formally said. This happened A to Z. This is what it was. But where there's smoke, there's fire. So I do believe the gist of what went down has probably been reported, albeit it's not fully official yet. So we'll have to wait and see how the rest of it plays out. But with the word of the felony charge being dismissed summarily so quickly after the word went public that it was first being administered, I think that's very telling. And I guess my only comment on this is, as I said on Twitter to a few people, I tried to stay out of it. I really did. I scrolled by the first probably 20, 25, and I saw a couple, and I said, shit, man, got to say, look, from my point of view, and my mom just passed away in August. She was elderly, 94. It was a good life. But like somebody allegedly said that to my mom, I'm going at the guy for sure, 100%. And most of my friends, in fact, 99.9% of them would have done the same thing. Now, I do reflect a different era. I'm in my closer to 70 than I am to 60. I grew up in a time period where that just wouldn't fly. For the people that went online or writing that you got to be a bigger man and walk away from that, I guess that's your choice. And it wouldn't be mine. So it wasn't allegedly, wasn't McKenna's. And now we'll wait and see for the rest of the story to come out. So, but at the end of the day, I was very happy to hear that the felony charge was dropped. And I do expect this will be all a fait accompli here in very short order. As far as the Olympic team goes, and I did make a off-the-cuff casual remark here at the start once Canada wins gold, which in my heart of hearts, I do believe we will. But as every day's gone by, and especially with these injury replacements, and I say this about the American selections as well, this has 2006 written all over it. After 2002, Canadian-American final in Salt Lake. It's a great tournament. We really had to turn and burn, if you remember. Much consternation after a 3-all tie for us in the round robin against the Czechs just produced an unholy amount of vitriol that was so condescending towards Canada, especially from one national reporter in particular that I ended up going after pretty aggressively in print. And it was quite a firestorm. That was 24 years ago. I know none of you remember it. I don't intend to bring that up in the sense that regurgitating that. What I am bringing up is Canada has prepared a roster, it seems to me, to play the States and vice versa. And when I heard the words, when I'm hearing these words that we've got to replace guys who play a similar role, I categorically, fundamentally disagree with that. The fact that Mark Scheifele is not on this roster is tragic. It's disgraceful. It's ridiculous. The only thing that trumps it is you don't have Darren Raddysh on this team. Right shot D, firing cannons with 17 goals. What is Colton Parayko brought back on this roster for? And then you go and get Seth Jarvis. I don't mind Sam Bennett stepping in. He's a guy that can platoon in for sure and probably play a role, no doubt about it. I had him on my original 14-man roster. But 40-year-old Drew Doughty, Parayko, these are colossal blundering mistakes to me. And I feel that in addition to grabbing somebody who should be there by position or by a role is not the way we eventually changed our Team Canada's back in the day when we said, let's just take the best roster we can and we'll put guys in because they're so freaking good, they'll adjust. You're going to be told to play a role. You don't have to come in playing that role. You're going to be told because your talent's up the yin-yang and you can handle it. Mark Scheifele being ignored, there's something backdoor there. I don't understand it. It's ridiculous to me. That is a massive, massive. And Darren Raddysh, anybody watching Tampa Bay games? The only team, I mean, really up until last night, and Buffalo's lost. So statistically, I don't even know how many games you got to go back between the two of them. The last 20, 15, 20, 25 games, who's had the better record. It's basically a 1 and a 1A. I mean, Tampa's got to be considered a cup threat right now, like an absolute number one cup threat right now in the NHL. It's got to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Raddysh is a massive, and he's not just, he hasn't just shown up. This will be his 4th consecutive year improving his point total. And he's not some 18-year-old rookie like Schaefer, who you could have probably brought, but you can only bring 8. So I understand leaving him off, I guess. But in 06, no Phaneuf, no Crosby, no Spezza. Like the young blood that was chomping at the bit to at least get on the roster that you could have platooned in. And here's the other thing. Elliot Friedman, who's pretty plugged in, is saying that he's hearing, and he didn't identify team or players, obviously, but he's hearing that there are a number. He didn't even say one guy. He said there are a number of players who are there just because it's the Olympics, and they'll be going on the IR as soon as it's over. So who? Is that Bronco Horvat? He's missed 16 games, 15, 12, 14, 15 games. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, Chris Pronger and Wade Redden came to that in 06 hurt and played hurt, and it showed. We already missed Scott Niedermayer, the best defenseman on the planet, and he was out. Like, it doesn't take much, man. The difference in the world is this. It's this. We lost to Switzerland in 2006 with a pretty good roster. That's the difference in Olympics. And we don't have our best roster. The only saving grace is neither do the Americans. And I did a deep dive on the Czechs today who were playing first. I mean, they got 12 guys that are playing overseas. Now, most of them had a smattering NHL experience. But, man, oh, man, they gave us such trouble. I mean, obviously, 98 shootout. 2002, we tied them 3-3. We needed 2 goals from Mario Lemieux. Guys, remember that? And look what they've done in the World Juniors. That's gotten a little sickening. I know it's not our best team, but still, it's that country. They have a lot of pride, and this is their signature event. So it is not going to be an easy game, I don't believe, next Thursday, because typically with a small number of years, we don't start well in international events in best on best. We finish well. We've won almost all of them, but we don't start well. So, yeah, Marchand, there you say, like, there you go, Jay. Hasn't played much either. Like, it scares the living bejesus out of me, because what we've done here between Doug Armstrong and Mr. Koopa in Tampa, who, don't tell me, hasn't had some influence on this. Anyway, he's lost 2 of his guys. I give Braden Point a ton of credit. Obviously, he wasn't even good enough to hit the ice, so he had to bail, clearly. I think he probably would have gone too, right? I can imagine the disappointment. We all know what Stamkos went through in 2014, right? Remember how crushed he was. That's why at least he got the World Cup in 2016. And to me, that's still, I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you're sending our best and they're wearing the Canadian colors, then that tournament's official as far as I'm concerned. Whether that be 72, the Four Nation, or any of the World Cups or the Canada Cups. I mean, the 3 greatest games ever played were the 87 final. There's no 3 better hockey games ever played in a series than the 87 final. So we'll see, it's the 5 rings. God, give me a break. There's so much, deceit, bribery, dishonor, cheating, scandals. No, those are 5 rings. Like, anybody who goes, it's fantastic. You're a flag bearer. You're representing the country. There's been countless, hundreds of fantastic stories, nationalistic, for every country. My late dad was from Ireland. We had some Irish have done, the country shuts down when they win a medal. anything other than drinking. But, I get it. But for me as a hockey fan, give me a sheet of ice. Say you're going to send a bunch of countries are going to send their best players, and whoever emerges victorious, I put a ton of stock in that, man. So I don't need the 5 rings to necessarily say we're the best hockey. Just give me a best on best, and if we win it, we're the best. And right now, we're defending as the best. 4 Nation and the Olympics, 2014, 2010. Last time the best went. We do not have our best entry. This was patronage. This was, patronage to 4 Nation and patronage to personal rosters. And that's a recipe for disaster. We're only saving grace is the Americans have done the same thing. But their D is scary. That is scary. And I just, we'll just see. We'll see. It's going to play out really, really quickly here, folks. Starts next Thursday. As we know, with the Czechs, going to be hell in a cell right out of the gate. And then hopefully we get off to a decent start. I will say I'm very thankful Celebrini's there. And I will say that I think that despite the Colorado's come back to earth and Maguire himself has come back to earth, McKinnon's still firing on 8 cylinders. Kale should still have a solid tourney, and we still have a lot of obviously fantastic pieces. And who's to say that because I picked this team that it should be better than the brain trust that picked Team Canada? All I would say to that is answer me one question. Parayko over Raddysh. Just tell me one reason why that works in anybody's world. And if you can explain that to me over a pint or 10, then I'm all ears, because I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know if Cooper recommended Raddysh or not. I mean, you'd like to think that he would have. But, Cooper's not picking the team. He's not the GM. He's the coach. So ultimately, where'd the buck stop? Well, it's not stopping with him. So clearly, he was outvoted if he did even want to put him up. Maybe, who knows what went on behind closed doors. You have to think he would have nominated him. I've watched more Tampa games in the last 6 weeks than I have probably since they won those cups. And the 3 ripped to the finals. So since then, I haven't. But this year, I've watched a lot because I've become a huge fan of Raddysh. So personal bias there. But I'm watching the guy, and I'm just loving what he's doing back there. And holy cow. Like, I get it. I had some people, I said it online, and some people came at me and said, hey, man, you didn't want any part of Morgan Geekie. Geekie's having that type of year, and he scored 30 last year. That's a good point. That's a good point. But I would answer this way. I'm not worried about our scoring. I'm not worried about it. The reason I don't like Seth Jarvis over Scheifele is because Scheifele has been better, is better, and was more deserving. And Seth got the call because of the 4 Nation last year. And that's patronage. And that's what we saw in 2006. In 2006, we saw Wayne, Pat Quinn, Jacques Martin, company basically roll the roster that won in 2002 and 2004. And do you blame him? I mean, it's hard to, right? Wayne is such a loyal guy. And he rolled out there with those guys. And then you had guys that showed up, I think, that played not 100% healthy. And the rest is history. And to me, we're perilously close, if not already over the line, of at least demonstrating that to me right now. Now, that can all be eradicated by going 3-0 in the round robin, and we score 15 to 20 goals, and we allow 5 and bring on the next round. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. We've got a couple of what should be layups, but we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, Cooper admitted that players from 4 Nations had an advantage. Yeah, to keep team spirit. What a load of bullshit! What a load of bullshit that is. That's total crap. What has been the Canadian mantra for 53 years? You get our best guys. You get our best guys. Look at the turnover from 72 to 76. Were they worried about keeping team spirit? No. We had better guys available, so you go get them. What a load of shit that is, if that was said. And that's too bad. Konechny is not good enough right now. He's not. He should never have been. He was not even close to being on my roster of 14 forwards. Anyway, like I said, if we all sat down in a bar and wrote our list of 25 guys, 14 forward, 8D, and 3 goalies, we're almost to a man, to a person, we'll have 20 of the same guys, right? Almost assuredly. 18 for sure, and probably 19 or 20. It'll be the 5 where we'll have differences. And this is what I'm arguing right now with the team that's been selected. So, fuck am I say? But, I mean, I follow this international scene very closely. It got brought on me years ago as a boy, and it's never gone far away. And we haven't had the opportunity. And then the Four Nation got dropped in our laps last year and turned the entire hockey world on its ear from that very first game between Finland and Sweden, I think, when the guys were going for it. Everyone thought, it's going to be like a all-star game on steroids. Not so much. So it certainly whetted all of our appetite, even though we know we're not going to get that same 9-second start at the Bell Center that we did February 15th last year when between Canada and the States. And how spectacular was that? So anyway, we will see what happens. Obviously, cheering like hell for Canada. If you are in Ottawa, in the area, I have a restaurant, my name on it, Liam Maguire's. I will be there. We're going to open early for at least for the Thursday game. I don't think we'll do it for the France game on Sunday. I don't think it'd be a big enough draw on a Sunday morning to get in. But Thursday, it's kind of close to Friday. You know, it's a 10:40 start. Take an early lunch. I'm going to be in there. I'll probably do a little trivia in the intermissions, and we'll cheer on Canada against the Czechs, and we'll all get a real good feel here. News and video and whatnot, stories will be surfacing as the boys get together and they start doing line rushes, and we get a sense of who's playing with who. But that's all. No, Francois, what they said about Jarvis is penalty killing. Allegedly, yeah, that's it. Explain, because Jarvis plays on the PK, which goes back to my original point. I think they more than have bodies that could fill that void. Like, it's not like he's a PK specialist. He's just a guy that can play on the PK. It's to me, when we were at our best, and look, in a lot of instances, we just had too much talent and we were going to emerge victorious anyway. But when you think of how close it's been, even in many of our victories, and need look no further than overtime last year in the Four Nation and overtime in Vancouver in 2010 and the 3 games, as I alluded to, in 87. Yeah, we beat the Czechs in overtime in 76, 5-4, but that was a best of 3. We beat them 6-0 in game 1. The entire team spent the night at Chez Paris and came out and still won 5-4 the next night. So we needed OT in the semifinals of 84 to beat the Russians. We needed OT and triple overtime to get to the final in 96 World Cup against the Americans. Theo Fleury against the Swedes. You guys remember that one? And then we lost 2-1. Well, we were missing Mario Lemieux, Paul Correa, Al McInnes, Ray Bourque, and Patrick Watt. All 5 of those guys weren't playing for Canada. Give me any 2 of those, and we win the 96 World Cup. That's my point. When you take out guys who deserve or should be there, and I'm just saying the guys I've picked. Let's say it's somebody who you picked, and they're not there, and they're taken out. Somebody else comes in. Extreme talent in Canada, no doubt about it. Abundance of riches, no doubt about it. But if in your view or my view somebody's missing, and we go on to say lose, guess who's going to? I mean, Doug Armstrong and company going to be second guest here. We're not playing for a medal. Gold or bust, baby, when you put on the best for the men in Canada. So anyway, not happy with the fill-ins. Not happy with some of the original choices. I said that weeks and weeks ago when the team was announced. And Darren, Raddysh, and Scheifele being overlooked here, to me, is a massive, colossal failure, in my opinion. And I hope to hell I'm proven wrong. I hope to hell this is the 84 Canada Cup revisited, when Glenn Sather took 7 Edmonton Oilers, and after we got waxed 8 in the 81 final, we lost 8-1, ironically, 81-8-1. And easy to remember the score if you ever wonder about memory techniques. And Mike Liut, we should have had Billy Smith, but Scotty Bowman chased him off the roster. That's a whole other story for another time. Point is that we didn't have our best. Gilbert Perreault got hurt. The rest is history. 84, Glenn Sather, he takes half his Oiler roster. And we're all going, what in the hell are you doing? And then they went on to win. So come back and bite me in the ass here, please. I can't. I will be the first guy. I'll be popping champagne, chugging a pint, taking a shot of whiskey, and doing all of it if we can get a gold this year. And we're still a serious, serious #1 favorite threat. No doubt about it. I'll just say this has got 2006 written all over it when 2 teams came up that nobody expected, the Scandinavian twins, and Sweden knocked off Finland. And they got her done. And we were on the sidelines looking out. It was an abysmal showing for us that year. So anyway, all right. Yeah. Okay, I got you, Grant. We're going to shut her down here. I don't really have anything for this day in hockey for the Habs. This is the biggest thing is that Doug Harvey got his 500th point on this day. Only problem is he did it against Montreal. He was playing for the Rangers. He was only the second defenseman to accumulate 500 points. It was in 1963. He actually was playing coach for the New York Rangers. He was second last playing coach in NHL history. Charlie Burns with Minnesota in 1969 was actually the last. But I only saw Doug play. I was a kid, caught him on Hockey Night in Canada a few times. He was in his 40s. I had no scope. I have nothing I could say, oh my God, there's a great Doug Harvey. I was 9 years old, 9 turning 10. So, 8 turning 9, 9 turning 10. It meant nothing to me. However, I will say this. I'll finish on this note. I worked the last event that he ever worked. It was at the Gloucester Orleans Sports Club, tiny little sports club in the East End in Orleans, in the east end of the city of Ottawa. And this was probably maybe less than a year before he passed. And he was there with a guy named Butch Stahan. I know guys won't know the name, but Butch Stahan was infamous, I should say, not famous, but infamous for the fight that he had with Jean Beliveau in Ottawa. This is when they played in the Quebec Senior Hockey League. And Beliveau, as nobody knows, was a ferocious fighter, absolutely ferocious. 6'3.5", 206, 208 pounds, and he absolutely just tore guys to shred. And as it was described to me by the late Jack Crawford, there was so much blood on the ice, and it wasn't Belivau's. They had to stop the game, scrape it off, and that's Butch Stahan. Fast forward 35 years, and he is basically chauffeuring Doug Harvey around to errands and doctor's appointments. Doug had packed in the booze at that point, but it was way too late. And I did a gig with him. He had no idea who I was. Not that I'm anybody, but at that point I'd been doing some trivia and been on radio and some TV and stuff. And he didn't know that. And so I was regurgitating his career and talking about it and some games and stuff like that. So he comes up to me after we finish on the stage, and he sits down at my table after. Of course, no phones, I didn't have a camera. I didn't get a friggin' picture. I could have got a great shot. But check this story out, okay? He tells me, he says, kid, you know your stuff pretty good. No, thank you very much, Mr. Harvey. He says, do you remember the night that Rocket Richard fought all 3 members of the production line? And I went, no. And I'm thinking to myself, Doug's quite old. Well, he actually wasn't quite old, but by what he had done to his body, he was elderly. And I'm wondering about his mind, and I'm thinking, geez, man, I've read just about everything there is to read at this point about Rocket Richard. I've not heard about this game. And I said, when would that be, Mr. Harvey? He says, kid, I don't know. I don't remember the year, but I know what happened. And you know why? And I said, why? Because I was there. And I went, okay, I'm not arguing with you. So I said to myself, all right, in those days, I used to go to the Ottawa Public Library every month. That's how I got my info. And I would go in, I would have already written down a bunch of dates, maybe years, different things that I needed to research. And I went to the microfilm from the old newspapers. So I thought, okay, let's figure this out. Doug says he was there, fought the production line, which means he fought Gordie Howe, who was the last guy to get there after Ted Lindsay and Sid Abel. Howe started in 46, 47. Abel left in 52. There's my window. They played 14 times a year. I got 5 years. Do the math. I just got to go through every game summary. It shouldn't take more than 5 or 6 hours. Fortunately, it didn't take that long because I found it. I found the game. I found the game from 1949. Now, it wasn't all major after major after major, but the write-up I found, and this made it even into the Ottawa paper, was Richard battles Abel and Lindsay, penalized for altercations with all three members. I forget the exact wording, but it basically, there it was. There it was. And at that time, you could get a photocopy for a dime. So I put a dime in, I got a photocopy of it, the whole story, the whole page, in fact. And I drove right out to the Gloucester Orleans Sports Club, and I gave it to the manager, and I said, could you please make sure this gets to Doug Harvey? And I put a little note on it, said, Mr. Harvey, it's Liam Maguire. I just wanted you to see, sir, that you were 100% right. And as you can see, you got a penalty yourself that game. And I left it with him. I never saw him again, but I did hear he got it. Hopefully he got a smile on his face when that happened. Yeah, Johnny, I think we'll win the gold too, but I don't like the makeup of our roster. I'm disappointed of the allegiance to Four Nation. I'm disappointed to the patronage in some of the picks between Tampa and St. Louis. Now, that's been eradicated somewhat by the injuries. Not that I wouldn't have had Braden Point there anyway, but Scheifele, as I said, you could have taken 3 or 4 guys that are on this roster right now, and I would have had Mark Scheifele ahead of them. No doubt in my mind. Why he's, all of a sudden Zach Hyman came up in conversation, for God's sake, in the last little while. Like, oh, yeah, here we go, Kunitz all over again, 2014, because he played with Sid. And I know he scored against Sweden. He got the 3rd goal. He played okay, I guess. I just think it's the wrong way to look at it. But really, how often have we faltered? It's been pretty rare since 72. We've had a hell of a run, man. We've won the overwhelming majority of the bests on bests. And we're a heavy favorite again this year as well, but maybe not heavy, but we're a favorite for sure. Even what goalie's going to start? Look at the year Binner's had, but look at the year even last year. Then he threw him in, and then Coop stays loyal to him. I got no problem with that. He came in. I mean, the save he made off to Brady Tkachuk in overtime. That's as good a save as I saw last year, especially with what was on the line. I don't recall a save either that Bob made in the final that was as dramatic or even as physically as good as Binner's was on Brady Tkachuk in overtime in the Four Nation in the gold medal game. So will he start Binner and see if he can rekindle that? I mean, whoever starts against the Czechs, if they play well, they got to be our guy. You're going to pick a second, give him one of those next 2 games. We got a back-to-back. So, maybe you go with the other guy and then you come back, whoever, providing we play well and the goalie plays well against the Czechs, depending on who it is. I mean, remember when we lost to the Swedes in Open in 2002 and the whole world, all the Canadian world collapsed. It was, Get Curtis Joseph out of there, baby. And, we got Marty in, and then Marty kind of laid an egg in 2010, and then came Luongo. And there was a lot of people nervous as hell about him in the gold medal game, but he held up to it, played well, channeled a little bit of that silver medal there when we lost to Russia in overtime in 99 with 7 or 8 guys in the NHL. Again, a whole other story for another time. All right, Grant, I went way too long, but it had been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still hanging in, thanks for watching the Montreal Forum. I am Liam Maguire, part of Habs Cast Nation. And Kunitz helped Crosby win a cup. Yeah, I know he did all that. And Hyman has won nothing. And Jarvis 25 goals, not needing McDavid. Scheifele, yeah. Jarvis 9 years younger. I don't care. I would have had Scheifele over him in a heartbeat. But you know what? They picked Seth, and I think it's largely because of his foreign nation. Mark Scheifele is by no means a graybeard, and he's playing fantastic hockey. The team isn't, but he is. And neither are a lot of guys going on teams that aren't playing well. So, including even Edmonton the last 3 games, they are absolutely, they look like they had righted the ship after the goalie trade and kind of charged back up there. I mean, they're in the weakest division, but still, even Connor's been kind of invisible here the last few games. Probably got his mind either on that commercial with Terry Ryan, so funny, or overseas, which a lot of the guys, you can't blame them. But myself, I wouldn't have had Seth. I said it. I'd have Scheifele. I would have had Scheifele in. He was on my original lineup anyway. So it is what it is. And now it's all up against the wall, and we'll see how she goes. That's all I got. Grant, over to you, buddy. I'll be signing off here, and yeah, I will mull it over. Thank you, brother. Exactly, to Terry Ryan. It's a great one. It's maybe it's more in Team Canada management doesn't want Scheifele on the team. Well, I don't know. I guess if Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby as a captain stepped up and really had something adversely to say, doesn't strike me as that would be the case, but perhaps there's something behind closed doors that the players have said to management, and that's why he's not getting a sniff. We all saw the incident with Jake Evans in 21. I don't think that's the makeup of the guy, but he is emotional, and he can lose it. But at the end of the day, he's physical. He can handle it. I think he can play both ends of the ice. I think he's been exceptional the last number of seasons in the NHL. He's in the prime of his career. He's all day on my roster, all day. So go get her done. And yeah, Florida Tampa yesterday was beautiful. Absolutely loved it. I'm not upset at all. The Panthers are getting waxed. Believe me, 3 finals in a row, especially 2 cups. You had your day. I mean, who really is a fan of Matthew Tkachuk? How can you be a fan of the guy? And I'm not. But Brad Marchand's kind of warmed on me a little bit. Maybe it's because he's not wearing the B anymore. As a Habs fan. Speaking of the rivalry there a little bit, I don't know. But anyway, I will get out of here now. Grant, thanks for putting up with me going a little long. Anybody else who was hung in, we'll be talking at you very, very soon. And maybe prior to next week, we'll do another one or whatever. I'll talk it over with Grant. But anyways, fantastic Habs where they are right now. What a first 57 games of the season. They are so much fun to watch. Thank you, Francois. Everybody be well. Johnny, thank you, guys. Stay well, guys. And we'll, God willing, we'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later. G'day.